You probably think your favorite necklace or that expensive watch is just a way to look good at a party. But 75,000 years ago, wearing a string of shells was actually a matter of life and death for our ancestors. It was not about looking pretty or trying to get more followers on a cave wall. If you lived back then, jewelry was the most advanced technology you could own. It was the first time in history that humans used an object to tell a story about who they were, the time. We often imagine cavemen as dirty, simple people who only cared about hunting and not getting eaten by lions. We think they were too busy surviving to care about fashion or accessories. But the moment a human picked up a shell and tied it around their neck, everything about our species changed forever. It was the birth of the most powerful tool we have ever invented, the symbol. We are going to look at why jewelry actually created modern society and how your jewelry is basically ancient software. I want you to imagine you are living 100,000 years ago in a small group of about 20 people. You know everyone in your tribe because you have lived with them your entire life. You know who is a good hunter, who is a liar, and who is the best at making tools. Everyone already knows your reputation because they see you every single day. But then something weird happened to humans that did not happen to other animals. Our brains started getting bigger and our social groups started growing way beyond our local family. You are walking through the woods and you run into a total stranger from another tribe. This was a massive problem for ancient humans because a stranger could be a friend or a killer. If you cannot talk to them yet because you speak different dialects, how do you know if they are cool? This is where the jewelry comes in and saves the day. Archaeologists found these tiny sea snail shells in a place called Blombos Cave in South Africa. These shells are about 75,000 years old and they have tiny holes drilled into them. They also found traces of red paint called ochre on the shells. These were not just random bits of trash that someone found on the beach. Someone spent hours choosing the right shells, drilling them, and painting them to look a certain way. They wore these shells to send a silent message to anyone who saw them. It was a way of saying, I belong to this specific group, and we believe in these specific things. It was a way of saying, I belong to this specific group, and we believe in these specific things. If the stranger you met in the woods was wearing the same shells, you knew you could relax. It was the original version of the verified blue checkmark on social media. It told the world that you were legit and that you belonged to a community that would protect you. Without jewelry, we probably would have spent all our time fighting every stranger we saw. Jewelry allowed us to form larger groups and cooperate with people we did not know personally. This is what scientists call the social brain hypothesis. Our brains evolved to handle the drama of living in big groups. And jewelry was the shortcut we used to manage all that social information without getting a headache. Think about how much money people spend on designer clothes or rare sneakers today. From a purely survival standpoint, a pair of $1,000 shoes is completely useless. They do not keep you warmer than a $20 pair of boots from a discount store. But we do not buy them for the warmth. We buy them for the signal they send. When you wear a specific brand, you are telling everyone around you what kind of person you are. You are signaling your status, your taste, and how much money you have in the bank. Ancient humans were doing the exact same thing with eagle talons and ostrich eggshells. In a cave in Morocco called Grotte des Pigeons, researchers found shells that were 82,000 years old. These shells were found miles and miles away from the ocean. This means someone had to travel a long distance or trade with other people to get them. In the ancient world, having something from far away was the ultimate flex. It showed that you were part of a massive trade network and that you had connections. It is like wearing a t-shirt from a concert that was only held in one city on the other side of the world. It says, I was there, or I know people who were there, and that makes me special. It says, I was there, or I know people who were there, and that makes me special. This brings up a really interesting problem that our ancestors had to solve. As groups got bigger, it became easier for people to lie about who they were. You could pretend to be a great warrior or a wealthy leader, even if you were not. Humans started making jewelry out of materials that were really hard to find or hard to make. This is called costly signaling, and it is a huge part of why we love jewelry. If anyone can pick up a pebble and call it jewelry, then the jewelry has no value. But if you have to dive deep into the ocean or hunt a dangerous predator for a tooth, that means something. It shows you have the skill and the courage to get that specific item. The jewelry becomes a physical receipt of your personal power or your group's wealth. It is a way of proving you are not a fraud without having to say a single word. But there is a darker side to this social commentary that we still see today. Once you start using objects to show status, you start creating layers in society. Some people have the rare shells, and some people do not. This was the beginning of social inequality and the idea of the haves and the have-nots. Before jewelry, the best hunter was usually the leader because they provided the most food. But after jewelry, the person with the most symbols could claim power, even if they were not the strongest. We started valuing the image of a person more than the actual person. You can see this today in how we treat celebrities or people with massive followings online. We give them respect and power because of the symbols they wear and the lifestyle they show us. We are still using the same mental hardware that those people in Blombos Cave were using. Our world has changed from stone tools to smartphones, but our brains are still hunting for status. There is even evidence that our cousins, the Neanderthals, were doing this too. For a long time, we thought Neanderthals were just big, dumb brutes who did not understand art. For a long time, we thought Neanderthals were just big, dumb brutes who did not understand art. But recently, archaeologists found eagle claws that were clearly used as jewelry by Neanderthals. This means that the need to wear symbols might be even older than our own species. It might be a fundamental part of being an intelligent creature on this planet. We need to be seen, and we need to belong to something bigger than ourselves. When you put on a ring or a watch in the morning, you are participating in a 100,000-year-old ritual. You just don't know it.